Islamic laws. Basically, he wanted to get support from Islamists and Islamic organizations. That's why I would say he misused the name of religion just to continue his illegal stay in the power circle, and just to continue his undemocratic government, martial law, or whatever that was. That was the time when Pakistan went afar from its path. Otherwise, I mean, before that, things were okay. Christian-Muslim relations, education, and the country economically, Pakistan was flourishing. And I know there was a time, though before partition of India and Pakistan, there was a time when people from Iran or people from Middle East, when oil was not discovered there, people used to come to Karachi. Just like as people from Karachi or Pakistan, they go to Middle East for better earning. People used to come from there to Karachi for better earning. But why everything was reverted? Economical reasons were one reason, but misuse of religion, I think that's the big problem in Pakistan. And extremists are in minority. They are not in majority in Pakistan. A tiny minority, because of guns and ammunition and arms, they have kidnapped the whole society.
Right. Where do you think these extreme elements are really supported? One, we said kind literally, or the real, is the education, obviously. No matter how much influence any outer powers could have, if the education is good, obviously it will have no effect on them. But however, we tend to see this issue of support that it gets.
I mean, to me, the biggest problem is the theological support that these extremist groups get. Right. When you will more spend your theological discourse on exclusivism, when you are portraying a religion or bringing exclusivism in the society through your religion, then it's good. You are excluding one religion or one sect, but finally you will be excluded from the society. Exclusivism in the state affairs is not helpful. I think in Pakistan, what mistake we made, we tried to give more profile to one religion, and then finally one sect which was in majority within that religion that got more power. So power game is always bad. So Pakistan as a society is very much multicultural and multi-religious in its nature and its foundation. As I said earlier, Christians or Hindus or Sikhs, they have not come from anywhere. They were there before foundation of Pakistan, before establishment of Pakistan. So multiculturalism or multi-religionism is very much a part of the foundation. That's why founder of Pakistan, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he was aware of that. And he had no idea that one day Pakistan will become a state only for Muslims. One day Pakistan will become an Islamic state even. He had a clear understanding that I'm going to get a state, or the constitution of Pakistan will be very much democratic, where people will have their own religion, but the state will have nothing to do with the religious affairs.
Right.
But after that, those who were against Pakistan, they became chaudhries or in charge or leaders of Pakistan. Islamic groups were not in favor of Pakistan. They were not in favor of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He was liberal, open-minded, politically thinking about a politically secular state. But after that, after his death, things could not continue, and these Islamic groups, they came into power not through the parliament, but through their own non-democratic way. And even still, extremist elements, they are fearful of ballot because they believe in power of bullet. And those who believe in power of bullet, they can be only kicked out by the power of ballot. That's why I strongly believe in democracy and human rights, religious freedom. If you will give chance people to decide, certainly no one is going to decide gun as a future for his next generation.
Right, right.
So give more power to ballot, then certainly bullet will lose its power.
Right. How about this? We tend to hear a lot about the backing from these Talabani groups, these Lashkar-e-Jang-we and so on and so forth. They have these open offices apparently, where they are freely moving, but at the same time they are claiming the responsibilities of all these actions that are taking place, which are considered as terroristical activities, obviously in a clear point of law. But at the same time they move around freely, and they are praised. I mean, why is that within that society?
When you have make your country like an open market, then any can come and put its stall there. This is what is happening there. All international players, they are there. War is going on in Iraq, war is going on in Afghanistan. So all these small local Pakistani extremist groups in different names and brands, they are there. To me, extremism is extremism. To me, terrorism is terrorism, whatever the brand is. Sometimes we go to a shop and one thing is in different brands, and whatever that is, whether that's a Lashkar-e-Jang-we, whether that's any organization. We can name various organizations. Whatever the organization is, if these organizations are producing extremism, intolerance, terrorism in the society, state should take serious actions. Yes.
Right, but we tend.
we can say that organization is supported by that group, but this is a different story. Again, theological support is sometimes more important than the financial support. You can control the financial support in various ways, but theological support or ideological support is much more dangerous, I think, than the financial support. State also need to look into those areas from where these groups get ideological and theological support, whether that's coming from the political circle, whether that's coming from the mosque, whether that's coming from the churches or temples or imam bargas or gurdwaras, or from wherever that is coming.
Right, right. You had mentioned earlier that the relationship that we find within this Indian subcontinent about Christians and Muslims, it's organic. And compared to what we have in the West, it's more based on that immigration factor, that you have Muslims immigrated to West, or Christians were here, perhaps Christians from the Middle East or the subcontinent immigrated, and there is a relationship. How do you see this relationship in the West here among Muslims and Christians? And as a matter of fact, you are part of the think tank here, and at the same time you work and you have worked on interfaith in England.
I think the good or ideal or better relations that Christians and Muslims have in the West, especially in the UK, are not because of Christians and Muslims, because of the norms that this society has, and we should appreciate that and we should admire that. And while Christians and Muslims coming from the Middle East or Pakistan or from India, when they are here, what they have learned from here, they can take it back to the countries of their origin. For example, Christians from Syria and Muslims for Syria, they are in London, and they meet with one another on various occasions, on their national days or marriage ceremonies or wherever they meet. They need to adopt and create some ways how they can feed into the political instability to stable the situation, and how they can feed into the societies from where they are, how they can also learn from the West. In the same way, Pakistani Christians and Muslims, I am working on a project how we Pakistani Christian Muslims living in the UK, how we can go back to our brothers and sisters back in our countries, and how we can share with them the experience we have here, the experience of democracy, the experience of tolerance, the experience of acceptance, and the experience of religious freedom and all that. I think that's the most important area for for immigrants or for the people from that part of the world living in this country, how they can take this experience back. In this way, they will be able to help a lot to their brothers and sisters. As I said earlier, I am working on a project that how Pakistani Christians and Muslims they can go back and how they can share their experience. 2 weeks ago, I was there with a delegation. We were 3 Pakistani Muslims. 2 were born and brought up in England. 1 came as an immigrant some 35 years ago. I was part of the delegation, and a British Christian, she was part of the delegation. We were 5 people. We visited various mosques, universities, colleges, government departments, and we shared our experience how Christians and Muslims coming from this part of the world are living together happily, peacefully in England, in the UK, and how these are the messages we want to give you. We want to we want to see you as we are living in a quite tolerant way in the UK. In this way, we can feed into our situation, and there is a lot to learn from them as well. As I said earlier, Christians in Pakistan, they are not immigrants, and they are living together with Muslims since centuries. How we can learn from their experience. And it's interesting. It could be an interesting research that how Christians and Muslims in the Middle East, they were able to live together in spite of all the problems they had. Even then, they were able to live together and they were happy.
Right. Right.
And certainly, when you are different, culturally or religiously, you will have problems.
Right.
Of course, you will have problems. But even if you are ready to live there, and if you are not willing to leave that country, you say, no, we have some problems, but even then, we are happy to live here.
How was the reaction or the response of your project, recent project of you traveling to Pakistan and speaking in mosque and with Muslims, having that interaction?
People were very happy. Because the UK and Pakistan has very strong political, educational and religious relations, and historically, and it goes back to the time of British Empire. Our visit was warmly received, and the experience which we shared with them, people were very happy about that. And then many times people don't know actually, because there is a mindset in Pakistan that all bad things happening in Pakistan are not because of Pakistan or Pakistanis and a foreign element. This is a very shortcut way to analyze problems. That's a blame game. Mm-hmm. and we as Pakistani are expert in that. But it was good for us to share that how the local British people are supportive, and how Muslim communities in the West are free to exercise their religion, and there is no bar on propagation of your religion. You are free to exercise, you are free to live, you are free to go to your mosque, you are free to go to your churches, temples, or gurdwaras, or mabar, or wherever you want to go. So that it was good for people to know that what they think about the West, that's not actually truth. Sometime if we are unstable in Pakistan, then it's very easy for us to say, oh, we are unstable because of this and that, because we are unstable because people don't want us to be stable. But our experience, for example, one of my friends, he's a great man, Mr. Toha Qureshi, he shared his own experience that 40 years ago when he came to this country, he had only £5 in his pocket, and now he's a successful businessman. This country gave him honor, this country gave him respect, this country gave him opportunities to flourish economically, politically, and socially. These things needs to go back, and if people there are able to create such kind of atmosphere where people who are different, people who are weak, people who are in minority, if they are treated in a way that they get opportunities to flourish. Right. And let me finish this thing on this sentence. To me, this is a litmus test of a society, how minorities are treated there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If minorities are treated well, that's a healthy society. that's a growing society.
Will flourish, basically. Yes.
And if minorities are weak,
right,
or if minorities or the weak are not treated well, that's not a healthy society. That's a dying society.
Right. Thank you very much. I think we are at the end of the program as well, and just wanted to highlight few important points before we end. The factors that leads to extremism is the theological factor, which is the issue of exclusivism, where one thinks that he is right and all of them are wrong, even to the extent of infidelity. Infidels, as is that we see within Pakistan taking place. Then the way of building the bridges. What we see in the West is the relationship of Muslims and Christians and how good they are. And one of the project which was led or which was participated by Reverend Rana on his recent visit to Pakistan, where Muslims and Christians, they went together to Pakistan to speak to people in the mosque and in the churches and point out to that how they coexist within the society in the West, something that we should really take from here. And one last point which was quite interesting and important, and that was that if the minority are oppressed and affected, then we will see that society will not flourish and will not grow. And if the minority are given its right, then that is justice, and that's the society that will grow and flourish. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll hope to see you next week again. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.